After that redistribution, you only hold this on a margin of 3.5%. Are you concerned that some of the news that we have seen in recent weeks with your husband pulling down Amelia Hamer's sign, with a bit of back and forth with those issues, do you think that will impact your chances of getting in again here at Kooyong?
I think it's going to be really close in Kooyong, and I think it's going to be close in lots of electorates around the country. And I think that's a good thing for democracy. You know, it's good when people have a choice. It's good when people like myself and Amelia Hamer are getting out here and talking to people and telling them what we want and what we want to offer and what we want to do. I think there has been a lot of tension in our political space in general in the last couple of years, and that's been challenging for many people. I think that some of our political leaders have been quite divisive in the rhetoric that they've used, and that's heightened some of those tensions to some extent, and I think that's really unfortunate.
There was a video posted online last night on The Age of some of your volunteers saying that they had been required to vote, and then they were your volunteers as well to vote for you. They attended the Hubei Association. What do you say to those claims? Is it a good look for your campaign?
Well, I think those two volunteers who are being interviewed in the video that's been shown on social media are people who attended a dinner where a community leader said that he supported me and he supported my values and thought that I'd been very supportive of the community in recent years, and for that reason he thought people should support me. You know, I'm grateful for the support the Chinese Australians have given me in the last 3 years, and I've tried to work hard for the Chinese Australian community in Kooyong. 20% of the constituents of Kooyong are Chinese Australian, and they deserve to be represented. I've tried to do that. I'm not sure about the interpretation of that video, you know, whether it's accurate, but you know, certainly no one's been compelled to volunteer for me. But I'm grateful for those people who've come out to volunteer on my campaign.
Did you ask for his endorsement?
I haven't. No, I haven't. Mr. G is someone who I do know. He's attended a number of meetings that I've held in the community. I often hold forums for Chinese Australians. We've had things about scams protection. We've had ones with Chinese speaking police officer about community safety. We've had a whole number of different community forums for the Chinese Australian community in the last 3 years. And he's attended, I think, some of those, and some meetings that I've had in the office around concerns that people have had around small businesses and in the Chinese community and visas in the Chinese community. But I've never had a one-on-one meeting with him, and I've never asked for his support in any direct way. James
Patterson's calling for an investigation into this, calling it foreign. It could be perceived as foreign interference. What do you say to that?
I think, well, so in response to the article that was in The Age, this morning, you know, and just because I don't want there to be any concerns about this, and in the interest of full transparency, I've contacted the AEC and the Department of Parliamentary Services and given them the details that I gave to the Age yesterday about my relationship with those volunteers and with Mr. G. And I've said, look, if you've got any concerns, please investigate. And
will they investigate?
To speak to them. I don't know. There's nothing to it. So. But I'm very, very happy. You know, I think transparency is important, and people do need to have faith in the democratic process. And so I think if there's any concerns at all, that they should undertake an investigation.
That association has had previous accusations of links to the Chinese, you know, foreign agencies. Do you think that this is a good look, though, for your campaign to have these videos out circulating, a video that has now been deleted from online?
I don't know who posted that video, and I don't know whether or not it's still online. I've got no idea. But I think that, you know, it's a common occurrence in this country that when politicians have associations with Chinese Australians, that those associations are brought into question. I know that happened with Peter Dutton in February, and it's happened with many other individuals in other times. The challenge is that you want to engage with all parts of the community. And I think it's really important that Australian politicians engage with China's Australian constituents. We should do that. In terms of the organisations themselves and any arrangements between them and foreign governments and things like that, I think, you know, of course we want to be considered to the extent that we can any concerns in that regard, which is why I've directed this matter to the AEC and to the Department of Parliamentary Services. Yeah, I have no real concerns about the involvement of those volunteers in my campaign, because I know that, you know, my understanding is that they've done it for good reasons.
And just finally, back onto your husband, in that video of ripping down Amelia Hamer's sign, what do you say to that? Pete
made a mistake. He did something silly, and he apologised for it immediately, as did I.
And in terms of this, do you think that it has turned to dirty tactics, some of the campaign that we have seen in Kooyong?
There have been lots of challenges in the campaign, obviously. There was the video of the neurosurgeon taking down and destroying one of my campaign signs in a way that was using language and doing it and filming it and sharing it online in a way that was quite concerning. It's a hard-fought campaign, as you can see. The Liberal Party has many, many people here who, they've brought in to campaign on behalf of the candidate. We've heard overnight that some of those people are exclusive brethren, so they've joined up with a religious sect to bring in large numbers of volunteers. The circumstances of the arrangement that the Liberal Party might have with the executive brethren is not clear. I think some people would have concerns about the Liberal Party aligning itself with an organisation that doesn't believe in evolution and is firmly against gender equity and doesn't allow its members to vote. There's some questions about how the campaign is being run by the Liberal Party, and I suggest that maybe you should ask the Liberal candidate for her thoughts about that.
Or your volunteers, locals?
My volunteers have all come to me from, one of the issues with locals is that the electorate boundaries obviously have changed. So there's lots of people who have previously been in Kooyong who have stayed with the campaign because they love what we've managed to achieve in the last 3 years. So, not everyone in the electorate is still in the electorate. But the vast majority of my volunteers are locals, and I certainly haven't entered into any arrangements with external organisations to provide me with large numbers of volunteers.
Perfect. And if you do get in, it could be a minority government. Will you be siding with the Greens? How will your votes go in Parliament?
Well, if I am re-elected and there's a minority government and neither of the major parties can form government and ask me for my support in providing confidence and supply, obviously I will negotiate with the leaders of the major parties, whoever that might be, after the election. The Greens are not a party of government, and they don't in any way purport to be a party of government. So I wouldn't be negotiating with the Greens because I'm an independent, and any negotiations that I have with the major parties would be separate to any conversations that the Greens might have with them.
Perfect. Thanks for your time. Good luck, Monique.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.